Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're stepping into two radically different worlds to uncover the unbelievable survival strategies hidden in Earth's greatest forests. We're going to explore the absolute extremes of nature, from the freezing, cyclical forests of the north all the way to the relentlessly chaotic, wet heat of the tropics. It's a tale of adaptation, resilience, and honestly, some pretty bizarre natural engineering. I'm incredibly excited to guide you on this journey to see exactly how life, against all odds, finds a way to survive. Let's get into it. Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll brave the forests of changing seasons. Then, we'll watch the return of life in spring. After that, we dive into the evergreen world of rainforests. And finally, we'll wrap up with the cycle of water and prey. Starting off with Part 1, Forests of Changing Seasons, Surviving the Extremes. So imagine a landscape that completely shapeshifts every few months. In temperate deciduous forests, the primary driver of life is this relentless, magical cycle of changing seasons. Unlike environments where the climate is just stable year-round, here the whole world undergoes a complete transformation. It forces this epic timeline of survival. Animals and plants are dealing with massive, life-threatening shifts. They have to endure a harsh winter where they're barely clinging on, only to sprint into a frantic spring of rapid growth. Summer brings a bit of temporary relief with abundant fruit, but then autumn hits, and it's a desperate race to prep for the freezing winter all over again. Now winter here, it's practically lethal. It honestly looks like the forest has completely died. Trees shed every single leaf, standing out there totally bare, but they're actually just sleeping to conserve the energy they've stored up in their trunks. Meanwhile, you've got massive giants like the European bison enduring the shivering cold by forming huge herds of around 50, surviving on literal scraps like bark, moss, and fallen branches. It's such a harsh reality that some animals, like squirrels, just decide to skip it entirely and sleep through the worst of it in hibernation. Moving on to Part 2, the return of life in spring, a race against time. But then, spring breaks, and wow, it is an explosive, fast-paced race against the clock. The temperature rises, that humidity returns, and the forest snaps back from the brink. Grasses become juicy again, broadleaves shoot out to catch the sunlight, and millions of birds rush back from the tropics. And they bring some pretty bizarre mating rituals with them. Take colorful species like the European rollers and bee-eaters. The males literally bring insects as gifts to the females. It's not just a romantic gesture, though. It's basically a biological resume to prove, hey, I'm a master hunter and I can feed our future chicks. Have you ever watched a woodpecker and wondered what it's actually hammering away at? Well, let me introduce you to the term xylophagus, which simply means wood-eating organisms. The shy yet super powerful black woodpecker uses its massive beak to hammer deep into rotting wood, specifically to hunt for these fat wood-eating beetle larvae. It just goes to show that even the dead, rotting trees in this forest are absolutely humming with life, providing crucial energy for the next generation. And this brilliantly illustrates how the micro connects to the macro. It's like a giant puzzle. A massive European bison eats the rich spring grass, right? Well, its waste, its dung, literally creates a brand new microhabitat. Millions of beetles immediately move in to eat and lay their eggs in it. And then those larvae become an all-you-can-eat buffet for reptiles, birds, and other insects. So a single bison's waste ends up sustaining an entire bustling ecosystem. Nature wastes absolutely nothing. As summer fades, we hit the breathtaking magic of autumn. The trees literally cut off the food supply to their leaves. As the green chlorophyll vanishes, it uncovers these stunning, hidden pigments, rich purples, vibrant reds, and vermilions. It is easily one of the most beautiful sights on Earth. But it's also a warning. Predators like the tawny owl know what's coming, and they're working overtime, hunting the abundance of mice to fatten up because they know that brutal winter freeze is right around the corner. So here is the crucial pivot. We are leaving the cyclical north with its forced seasonal survival and sleeping trees and entering an entirely different universe, the neotropical rainforest. Down here, the temperature is locked at a sweltering 27 to 30 degrees Celsius with an oppressive 80% humidity all year round. The climate literally never changes, but make no mistake, the competition for survival is fiercely relentless. Which brings us to Part 3. The evergreen world of rainforests. Constant heat, relentless competition. Welcome to the jungle. It is loud, it is incredibly dense, and it is a bustling paradise. This is the absolute peak of terrestrial life, holding a staggering 90% of the world's regional biodiversity. But to keep this hyperliquid ecosystem alive, it requires a massive amount of water. We're talking 1,700 to 2,000 millimeters of annual rainfall. Water is the absolute foundation here. It rains almost every single day, powering just an unending, massive engine of life. And what is the result of all that heat and water? Well, an absolutely mind-blowing number: 6,000. That is the number of distinct insect species crawling around in just a single hectare of this Central American jungle. 6,000! Insects truly rule the rainforest, acting as the foundation for the unbelievably complex food web we're about to explore. But right in the thick of all those millions of bugs hides a true giant, the South American tapir. Weighing up to an astonishing 300 kilograms, this massive, heavy-set beast wanders through the dense underbrush. And you'd think a guy that big would eat whatever he wants, right? Actually, scratch that. It's quite a picky eater. It uses its sensitive snout to track down and eat only the absolute softest leaves it can find. Now, remember those thousands of insect species we just talked about? Well, meet the myrmecophagous animals. Big word, I know, but it basically just means creatures perfectly and uniquely designed to feed exclusively on ants and termites. And the poster child for this highly specialized diet is the quirky, totally unique northern tamandua. It's basically the jungle's built-in pest control. You have to see these hunting tactics. The tamandua can eat up to 9,000 ants daily. It uses 4 powerful claws to tear open concrete-hard termite mounds, and then slurps them up with this incredibly long, sticky tongue. But the really amazing part is their genius restraint. They intentionally leave the colonies partially intact so the insects can rebuild. They're literally farming their food source to make sure they never run out. How smart is that? Speaking of smart, let's look up at the canopy. Spider monkeys are actually ranked as the 3rd smartest primates in the world, right behind orangutans and chimpanzees. Why? Because their diet is mostly ripe, fleshy fruit that's spread far and wide across the canopy. They need massive brain power to mentally map out exactly where these fruit trees are and when they're going to bloom, all while navigating endless, violent tropical storms across a huge 2-kilometer daily range. It's a real mental workout. And that leads us to our final section, Part 4. The cycle of water and prey, survival in the wet. Because it rains so constantly here, the boundaries between land and water completely blur, and that shapes some of the most bizarre and fascinating predator-prey dynamics you'll ever see. Survival here means you have to master the wet. The rivers are incredibly tense. You've got the spectacled caiman, an apex predator, literally clapping its massive jaws underwater. This creates a booming auditory warning that absolutely terrifies intruders and marks its territory. But then right nearby, you have the bare-throated tiger heron, standing dead silent like a statue, before unleashing a lightning-fast harpoon-like strike into the water to catch a meal. 2 totally different but completely effective ways to hunt. And speaking of catchy meals in the water, check out this quirky fact about the crab-eating raccoon. You know how we often think raccoons wash their food to be clean? Well, in this murky environment, that's just not true. They rely heavily on their highly sensitive paws, wetting them in the water to increase their sensitivity. They're actually feeling around for sharp crab spines, bones, and hidden dangers before they take a bite. Pretty clever. All this constant wetness creates a delicate, high-stakes dance for amphibians. Because the air itself is so humid, frogs can actually live away from the rivers. The amazing hourglass tree frog lays its eggs on leaves over both land and water. But it's an evolutionary arms race. Snakes have evolved to be specialized hunters just to track down these sticky eggs. It's a brutal cycle where only a lucky few survive to keep the whole species alive. To put all this into perspective, tropical rainforests cover less than 6% of Earth's surface, stretching down from southern Mexico all the way to Brazil. Yet somehow, they house over half of all plant and animal species on our entire planet. The sheer, unimaginable density of life packed into these wet, relentless regions is nothing short of miraculous. And that brings us to the end of our explainer. But I want to leave you with this thought. With thousands of species still totally undiscovered, hiding deep in these relentless ecosystems, what untold secrets of survival are still waiting out there in the dark? Thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope this journey helped illuminate the brilliance of nature's adaptations and sparked your curiosity to keep exploring our incredible planet. See you next time.